Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Kicking It with Kaz. Thanks for taking the time to hang out here for a little bit out of your morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is. I appreciate you being here. Is the music fine? Is the music too loud? I can turn it down a little bit. Figured it might give us a nice vibe. What's up, Angle, Democryptus, JMR, Forrest Gaines, Hitman, Kane, Cody, Charles, Attila, Nick, Daniel, Colombian Snow, Neon, Hitman, Mackenzie, B. Stewart, what's up, bro? Bashar, how's it going? Barack, Oscar, how's everyone doing? I had to make myself a nice little latte, so sorry if I was a minute or two late. Music's perfect. Okay, good to hear. Okay. All right, everybody. So, first of all, I hope everyone is doing okay. I hope you all survived. I hope no one got screwed with any crazy liquidation wicks. I know on Binance, like I think one of the Ethereum contracts like went to zero or something like that, so that's a little scary. But hope you guys all survived just fine. It's normal to have at least lost some money on this big dip. We've seen a good recovery, but I'm not ready to say anything definitively. I know emotions are probably going crazy right now. Yesterday you probably thought, maybe you even had some thoughts that this was the end of Bitcoin, that this was going to dump back to 20 to 10. I don't know, emotions can really take full control of you. Today we're bouncing back quite a bit, so we'll see what happens. A lot of green across the board, but that's kind of what happens after massive red days. We tend to see a good amount of relief. I'm not too concerned with the price action or that we rejected here already. That really doesn't concern me at all. This is kind of what I expect for the next few days. Maybe not this long, but maybe something like this next few days. Just because after we get a move like this, a 30% drop, and then we come right back and bounce 43% and 42% from there, just talking about the drop from here, not the total drop. Typically things need some time to cool off a little bit. They need some time to consolidate, to chop around a little bit. We don't typically see crazy volatility constantly. You know, right now, even these 5-minute candles are pretty volatile. Like, it's not crazy to see a couple percent or 1% in a 5-minute candle. We haven't been seeing that much recently, but now with all this volatility, things are getting a little crazy. So what I try and do, first of all, when things get crazy like this, is kind of take a step back, be a little patient before entering anything. I've taken 2 trades since this dump. I longed Bitcoin at 33 around here and closed it at around 39, and then waited, and I was able to catch a little short here, and then I closed it on this candle close at around 39. So nothing too crazy. I haven't really touched alts other than some spot buys. I bought some more Cope today. I bought Bitcoin and Ethereum yesterday. Those were the main ones. Sol has been performing very well. Bounced back really nicely. It's pretty much fully back in this range. So it's good to see some strength across the board. after a day like today. But the last thing that I want for you guys is to feel a bunch of FOMO right now, to feel that you missed out on the bottom and that Bitcoin's going straight back up. I don't think it's going to happen that quickly. Like I said earlier, we might just do something like this, right? Just range for a couple days, cool off a little bit. We'll talk about the scenarios I'm looking for, but I kind of wanted to take the beginning of this stream to talk more big picture, make sure you guys are doing all right, kind of give an update, and then we'll get into the analysis itself. But if this was your first time facing a major crypto dump like this, I know it can be really scary. I remember my first one. Now we're kind of used to them. It seems like once a year or twice a year we get one of these 30-40% pullbacks or whatever, where I mean the liquidation wicks just happen in a matter of minutes. I mean, this dropped, took about an hour to drop 23%. So pretty crazy what we saw. I'm glad I wasn't awake during this part right here, because I probably would have started entering some longs, because that might have looked like a bottom. So glad I wasn't awake for that. Saw this and woke up right when it was finishing up the dump. So with that being said, hope you're all okay. We're all gonna make it. Can I speak a little louder? Yeah, I can. I can turn up my mic sensitivity a little bit. If you took a big loss, just remember that money isn't the most important thing in life. A lot of people were DMing me, and I was just trying to tell them to take a step away, try and take your mind off things a little bit, focus on something else, remind yourself that money isn't the most important thing, and your life has a lot of value outside of money. So big picture, my plans are still, like, I still think we are in a bull run. I think we had a little bit of a bigger correction than usual within a bull run. Like, this was around a 50% pullback from the high to the low, but that doesn't surprise me too much, because leverage trading is the most easily accessible that it's ever been before. And so when those liquidations start happening, it can really cascade, and it can get scary pretty quick, and then there really is no telling where the wick is going to end. It's just going to stop when we run out of liquidations and people start buying. So under different market conditions, this might have bounced at 35 or 38 or something if it was just a spot market, but because of all these liquidations, we wicked down very far. But pullbacks in general are not uncommon. Hide some of this stuff. Pullbacks in general in a bull run are not uncommon at all. I still think we are in the midst of a bull cycle. You can see here was a 40% one. 35. I'm sure you guys have seen this before, but for those that haven't, we'll go through it still. 40. But back in 2017, I'm pretty sure there were only a handful of leveraged exchanges. Like BitMEX was pretty much the big one, but there weren't as many, and it wasn't quite as easily accessible as it is now. I mean, all you need is an email address and a couple $100, and everyone knows about leverage trading. It isn't a new thing. And so due to that, I think a lot of the pullbacks that we've seen and the liquidation wicks can cause bigger shakeouts. But we've seen plenty that are around 40%. So I do not think the bull run is over, okay? I don't think this is the end of the bull run. I still am pretty confident that Bitcoin makes a new all-time high, even that it hits 6 figures this year. I think that this, from a macro perspective, was our pullback before the next leg up. It went right into this weekly level. We can refine it even more on the 3-day. It looks pretty good. So this is our 3-day demand that led to this 90% move. So there were a lot of buyers in this 34 to 29% range. And I'm not charting this to try and say I called it. I'm definitely showing this level in hindsight. I didn't just put my bids right in this 3-day level, but I think it's useful to look at this now to try and get an idea of the bigger picture. So my expectation is a bit of ranging and consolidation for the next few months. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but probably somewhere in this 50 to 35 range, maybe 50 to 40K range. I think we spend some time in there before going up, and once we do break above like 50K, once we get above that, I'm pretty confident in the next leg up. So from a macro perspective, I think this is okay. I think we're gonna be fine. I think the bull run is still underway, but after crazy volatility like this, I wouldn't be surprised if we have to range for a little bit. And like I said, I don't know exactly what that's gonna look like, but it could be something like this. Just like a few weeks of ranging around here between 45, 50, and 35, something like that. No one really knows exactly, but what I do know is that it is very typical for us to cool off for a bit after such volatile periods of time. So I don't think it's bad to sit out for a little bit. This gray level is that 3-day level. I think the best thing you can do right now is be a little patient, and I do think the low is in. I think it's very unlikely that we break this low, just because the amount of selling it would take to break that low is a pretty insane amount, because it took, $9 billion of liquidations for us to get this leg down. So, yeah, I think the low is in there. We just need to let it do its thing until we can step in. So with all that being said, I think we will start talking about scenarios I'm looking for. Let me just catch up with the chat briefly and take a quick sip of coffee. Hi, Mitch. I do not have any cocaine. 777 Athletic. I hope the volume is better now. Let me know if you can hear just fine. Hi, boss. We gonna make it this time? Yes, we are. It's a good idea to convert alts to BTC when the market goes south. It kind of depends. Personally, I think BTC is a bit safer when things are dumping, but as you can see, it's gonna bounce a little less afterwards. I just think Bitcoin is the less volatile coin to have your money in. Okay. It's good to see you all here. What's up, the Spaniardo, excuse me. Cause deserves so much more viewers and likes. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I do not think we go anywhere near 13K. All right, so let's start talking about scenarios. I don't know how long it's going to take, and we're going to get more levels to work with over time. But I think these two levels that I have kind of shown us where that range is going to be. So far, since we had this giga pump, like this 30% pump, we pulled back, put in a low right here, right above our 3-day demand, and a high right there, okay? Let me make that a little bit thicker. Draw it out a little more. Make sure I get those levels right. So to me, it looks like this is the range that we're working with for now. We have good mid-range interactions, good, a nice range high, range low, nice range high, strong moves from each of those areas. So I really like this range, and I think these are the levels I want to be playing for the time being. So I'm going to delete this level because it's kind of shown already. On the 4-hour chart, we have this supply level that I have marked in blue. I don't really know why. Maybe my supply should be orange and my demand blue. Save as supply. Okay. This is the last bit of buying pressure, the last bounce before we put in that low. So this is where the sellers loaded up and then pushed price down. So that's a key level for me. And this low, I mean, you guys know what that level is. It's basically this 3-day level bounced right above it. So I really like this range. I like these levels. It could do this for 3 days and I probably won't take a single trade. However, when we're in a ranging environment, you guys know that we look to trade the extremes. So we look for trades around the range high. We look for trades around the range low. I don't want to mess around at the mid-range, and if I do, it'll usually be a short-term trade, but sometimes I'll just get chopped up. So I've kind of learned from my own experience to not take too many trades at the mid-range. Even though it could work really well, we also might just start chopping around it, right? And I like my chances of taking profitable trade setups around the extremes, okay? So with all that being said, I'm sure you guys can kind of tell where I'm going with this, but I'm looking for either a sweep into the range high, and we'll zoom in a little bit. I'm looking for a sweep into the range high for a short, and I would be targeting this level. And the inverse is also true. Sweep of the range low, targeting this level, right? So very simple. But I just know that 42.5K to just under 44K, that's where I want to be doing business, okay? Because that's what I would say is, zoomed out a little too far. It was the floor right here, right? Where price didn't break through until it finally gave out. So that's a very clear SR level. We also get more confluence with this from our range high and our range low and the 4-hour supply. So I know this is a very key level. This is the level that the bears would want to defend if we're going to range for longer. And the opposite is also true here. So this is the level that we bounced from, that basically put in a bottom. And then after pulling back here, you can see we barely front ran that level, but it's where buyers were interested in stepping in, and they pushed the price up 21% from there. So now we have our key levels. You guys know these are the only 2 areas that I'm interested in doing business. I don't want to waste my time getting chopped up at the mid-range. I don't need to be staring at my phone every few seconds, making sure I'm not missing something. I have my predetermined plan that I want to short around the range high or that I want to long around the range low. And that is as basic as it gets. And I think that developing plans like this can help you keep your sanity. You don't need to stare at the chart all day. If you have your plans in place, you can set an alarm for 42K. You You can set an alarm for 35.4 so that if it starts getting close, you're involved. And these are the main trades that I'm interested in for now. Another reason that I think these would work really well is an idea I spoke about at the beginning, where I said that since we had so much volatility in both of these directions with the dump and then the pump afterwards, I think price wants to range. I think price wants to cool off a little bit before making another big move in either direction. You know, we don't know if price is going to come down for another leg. I really don't think it does, but we don't really know for like 100% certainty. And I don't think Bitcoin's just going to flip this and shoot back up to 50K this week. I think that is also unlikely. I think the most likely scenario is that we range for a bit, most likely the rest of the week, maybe a couple days next week. And we're just going to look to milk the range for as long as we can. I think ideally we get this pump up today, maybe tomorrow, because the daily close is in 2 hours or so. If we get that pump up, I think that's great. I'll look for a short. I'll look to take profit on the short around here, 35K, and that's where I want to load up on longs. I think this is the best opportunity for leveraged longs, and I also think it's the closest you'll get to longing the bottom if you didn't have some crazy limit orders set here. So these are the two scenarios I'm watching. I guess this probably doesn't need too much more explanation. One other thing I will say is that I'm not worried about if price goes a little higher, like if it squeezes to 45 and then breaks down. It wouldn't invalidate it for me if we break above this level. I just try and narrow it down to a smaller level, because we could just look at this 12-hour level, right? And that's an even bigger level. And so maybe we spike into that and then break down. But the main idea with this, I'll undo so that's back where it was. The main idea with this is just that a spike above 42.5 and then break down below. I'm not really too concerned how high the spike goes, but that will define our risk. So the way I play these range trades is that when price moves above it and then breaks back below, my invalidation is the top of that spike. That means I know I'm wrong if this comes back above where I got stopped out from. Although I do think it's going to range for longer, it's possible that it just breaks out and pushes up from here. You know, in trading, we just have to plan for scenarios, play the probabilities with the likely scenarios, and go from there. So if something like this happens and it spikes a little higher to 45K, no worries, but we just need a slightly wider stop loss. And because this is so volatile, it still offers a pretty great risk to reward at 3.16. However, if it has a smaller spike, just up to like 43.7, then you guessed it, we're in a bit of a tighter position. So that's the only thing that changes depending on how high price spikes up before breaking back down. And the inverse is also true. So if I had to narrow this down a little bit more, I would look for a spike into this level. Some people would call this a pin bar candle. And so dip right into there is kind of what I would expect. It doesn't have to exactly. If it goes deeper, we just have a little bit wider of a stop. And if it just touches the top of it, we have a tighter stop. But I hope that kind of explains the context. Okay, let me try and catch up with the chat. I haven't checked in a few minutes. I've seen some calls for 20K from people who called 30K. Yeah, I think when something starts dumping a lot, people start to panic and they just think it's going to keep going lower. So almost 200 people. Let's at least get this to a stream to 100 likes. That would be awesome if we could hit 100. Only Mitch is going to make it. First time here, loving it. Awesome. We're glad that you're here, man. Thanks for hanging out. Yes, I'll look at XRP later. Dimitri from Argentina. How's it going, man? We can look at Adam too. Audio's much better. Perfect. Background music, nice touch. CME futures affect us? Question mark. They can. Like the background music, hate the silence. Wrecked proof, well said. Thank you, brother. Thanks for being here. Me and Wrecked proof were texting during the dump yesterday, asking how we're gonna tell our wives and parents about the money we lost. So that was kind of funny. Well, my wife, his girlfriend. Can you give a dollar number of long or short as an example, please? First time here and loving it. So if one of these scenarios plays out where it takes out the range low and spikes to here, I'd be looking to long 35K, give or take, with a stop around 33 or the low of the spike, targeting the range high. Now, if this sweep happens first and then I get long with this scenario, I'll still look to target the range high as my first target. But at that point, it would be the third tap of that resistance, and then we'll be looking for a flip since this already would have played out. So that's just something else to keep in mind. We'll look at Sol as well. Would you advise spot in that middle range? I think it depends. Probably not here. I think if you want to buy spot, you do it here, or you wait for us to range and then break above 43K. Because after we range and then break above, I'd be more confident saying that the low is in. Although I do think it is in. When we break out of this range, I think we have a nice break in structure, and that would make me more confident. So, hi Kaz, you sound a little bit tired. I hope these days are not too harsh on you. Thanks for everything. No problem, man. That's what my coffee's here for. I just haven't had too many sips of it yet. And I feel like sometimes I might talk too fast. And so I've kind of tried to slow things down, especially for people that don't speak English as their first language. Sorry, I just read a funny comment. Your wife is his girlfriend. Did I hear that right? That's funny. No, I was saying, how am I going to tell my wife and how's he going to tell his girlfriend? If you like the stream, don't forget to hit the like. Thank you, Angle. Kaz, who have you got for the PGA? That's a good question. I try and cheer for any Germans. And then if no Germans are playing well, then I'm not I love playing golf, and I think watching it is fun, but I'll watch any PGA player play. I'm not really attached to any specific one. What app do you use for price alerts? I use TradingView, so I can just, where is it? Right here. I can just click add alert, and then it tells me. Rex Proof is here. When homeless? That's a good question. Soon. I'm just kidding. Love Rex Proof's Telegram. Love to hear that, man. And Cause. Nice calm analysis. Also good to know you also lose money. Yeah, I didn't make money. I didn't make money from this drop. I shorted a few times throughout this whole thing, but not enough to make me green if we're including spot holdings. So my USD value is lower than it was when we were at 56K. So I think I did a relatively good job of preserving my capital, but I could have had a higher percentage in Tether, and so it is what it is, though. Trader SZ talks super fast. Yeah, he does talk pretty fast. I'm not sure what language that is. I speak German, not I'm not sure. I've never seen any trader talking fundamentally positive of IOTA. Do you have a guess why that is? I'm not sure. I only know the fundamentals of a handful of coins. I'm no fundamental expert, but coins that I am invested in for the longer term, I like to know what they do. Professor Kaz speaks better English as his second language than most Americans. That's like cred too. I'm pretty sure Russian is his first language, and his English is phenomenal. It's unbelievable. Rexproof is posting my analysis in his Telegram. We're actually the same person. So I log in with my Rexproof account to message in the chat and then post in Telegram while I'm doing the stream. Who are your mentors? Watch/follow. Oh. Yes, I do speak German. Hey, Kaz, any thoughts on high inflow on exchanges? I think inflow and outflow stuff used to have more alpha, and it doesn't work quite as well now. But I think as a general rule of thumb, when there are more inflows, like, yeah, that tends to lean bearish, but I'm not going to enter a trade or close a trade just because of inflows and outflows. What do you think about the reason of this drop? I mean, I think it is pretty fair to say we were overextended, like we were looking at the beginning of this episode. It's not uncommon to have drops like this during a bull run. So I think it's a combination of being overextended, and also there was some FUD that was released, and I think that just accelerated things. So do I keep trading margin in crypto or USD? I do both. Angle, you're a small butterfly. You mean credible crypto is Russian? No, crypto cred, I'm pretty sure. Well, he at least speaks Russian. He doesn't live in Russia, but I know he speaks Russian. Okay, I think I'm gonna move on to Ethereum in a sec. I don't want you guys to get bored when I'm just reading the chat and answering stuff instead of doing more analysis. But hold on, let me check these last ones. Do I think ETH bull run is done for the short term? I mean, I think everything is going to range for a little bit in the short term. We'll look at that shortly. When Rexproof is going to join? That's a good question. We'll have to check with him. Who are your mentors? I learned from a lot of different people when I started trading. Trader Main was one of the early ones. He was kind of helped me start with price action. Trader SZ was also very helpful when it comes to ranges, and I've learned a lot from my peers, like people I trade with on a daily basis, talk to on a daily basis, like Rexproof, like Trader Main, like SM, like SMFX, he's a good dude, Arian, Abe, pretty much those FF, like the shout outs that I do. The last one that I did was basically a list of people I talk to like every day, and I think having a good group of traders around you to bounce ideas off of can be really helpful. Chicken Gang, what's up, Chicken Little? Can you explain how leverage affects the overall market? Why do we need to wipe out leverage traders for the market to go higher? Well, it is basically, it comes down to liquidity, I would say. So when someone wants to fill a big long position, they need people to sell into their limit orders. And, well, I guess that's more just liquidity in general, not necessarily leverage. I would say the leverage trading aspect, when people are just levered up 100x, markets are more volatile because people are entering much bigger position sizes than money that they actually have. And if you're in a huge position size on 100x leverage and you get stopped out, then when your stop market order executes, then that's gonna cause a bigger ripple effect than if it was just a spot order, if that makes sense. Is it going to be good for alts if Bitcoin ranges? I'm thinking alts will probably range for a bit as well, but we'll look at some in a little bit. What time frame do I use? I don't think you have to use a specific time frame. I like the 15-minute, 30-minute, hourly, but it doesn't matter what time frame you're looking at. If it makes a move above and then gets back below, it doesn't really matter to me what time frame you're watching this on, because it's still breaking above and then losing that level. So it's not really time frame dependent. Okay, let's talk about Ethereum. I'm basically just going to be looking at charts and then deleting all the levels that I had earlier. This was from our stream on Tuesday, but neither of them played out, obviously. It would have been really nice if this literally just had to go a little bit higher to sweep Monday's high, and then I would have been in a nice short, but that's okay. So we're going to clear some of these. Talk about Ethereum a little bit. So from a weekly perspective, I never thought it was gonna dip this low, but when you zoom out, this is the most obvious level on the chart, right? This 3-day resistance, weekly resistance, was resistance here. It was resistance here. Tapped it one more time, broke above, retested support, and then go. So this is probably the clearest SR level on the entire Ethereum chart. And I could probably make it a little more precise right there. So we see resistance, resistance, support, support, and now we just swept this low and ripped right back up. Okay? So, if I had looked at that sooner, like hindsight's 2020, obviously, but this was a beautiful level to set some limits. But it's also good to see that this level held, because this was the most obvious support SR level on the chart. So, zooming in a little bit, I think this is a relatively important level, just that high. I think this was a nice SR level, and this is also an SR level that I was watching earlier. So with Ethereum, it's pretty similar. The only difference is Ethereum had a little bit more clear of a sweep of that high, but that doesn't mean too much. I'm actually going to clean this up a little bit because I don't think we need all of these levels on there. But pretty simple stuff. I think either you can draw the range like this, which makes sense. We did already sweep that high, so it might come up again. Or you draw it. What am I doing? Do I need this one on the bottom? Yeah, there we go. Or you draw it like this, which also I think makes sense because you can see how well the mid-range interactions were, and I like how the mid-range lines up really well with this high. Either way though, if you're deciding to trade trade Ethereum instead of Bitcoin, I think the same idea, I would have the same trade plan. So I think this is a nice level. Once again, it was the floor before this breakdown. So that's essentially this 42.5 level for Bitcoin. And what I'd be looking for Let me just make sure these levels are in the right spot. Okay. Just like, I like when it all lines up. What I'd be looking for is pretty much the same thing. Ethereum's second wick though did come back a little deeper. So if Bitcoin does come down here and take out this low, Ethereum might just make a higher low here. We're going to kind of have to wait and see and watch Ethereum's strength during that time to see if it's stronger or weaker than Bitcoin. But generally the same idea. Push into this SR level. If it breaks back below 3,000, which is also a nice psychological level, then I would look for a short down to these equal lows and then also the range low. So pretty much the same idea as with Bitcoin, but I thought I'd lay it out anyway just so you guys could see the price levels that I'm working with. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I wanted to say about what's this called? About Ethereum. Could I stream with RecProof one day? Yeah, I'm sure we can get a stream together at some point. I think a lot of people have asked for it. We're just gonna have to make it happen. It would be fun. It is something I'd like to do, so I'm sure we'll make it happen at some point. Cred is Russian. Yeah, he's spoken Russian on stream before, which is pretty fun. Russian's a cool language to listen to. But this crash is bigger than all the 2017 ones. It is, but I think that is because of the easy access to leverage trading. So if you had a few hundred more people trading on crazy high leverage, those liquidations are going to push price lower than if they were just trading spot. That's why the percentage down wick doesn't worry me too much. Do you have CT meetups in Germany? I haven't yet, but I was talking with Don Alt at one point, who also lives in Germany. Replied to one of his, it's not like something we've talked about in detail, but replied to one of his tweets saying that we should have a Germany meetup when COVID subsides a bit. So I think we'll try and make something like that happen. Okay. So as long as that makes sense for everyone here on Bitcoin, then we'll continue. And talk about some alts. So I think today I have less alt setups to share than in the normal stream that we do, just because a lot of alts look the same. Also, bummer, AVAX broke out of this the wrong way. A lot of alts look the same, right? They all took massive drops and they've bounced back and they're consolidating a little bit. So other than buying spot, because I do think spot in these lower levels is going to pay off generously one day. Probably not too far away. Ray looks good soon, actually, when it can get back above that level. Might actually buy some spot Ray. This does look pretty nice. Anyway, a lot of alts look the same. A lot of them look like Ethereum. And I'm not going to be looking to day trade every single alt just because there are too many. A lot of them don't have as good of liquidity. When the market looks really similar across the board, I'd rather just trade Bitcoin or Ethereum. They're the most liquid, just the easiest to get filled, least amount of slippage, etc. They have the most volume, and that volume usually leads to cleaner price action. And also, we're only 1 or 2 days from the massive drop. Most alts dropped around 40-50%. And so I kind of just want to let some PA develop before looking for leverage trades on alts, right? I just want to give it some time. I don't think we need to rush into anything yet. I don't think we need to FOMO into alts thinking we're about to miss the massive run. I think it is good to buy some spot alts at these discounts, and I've done some of that personally, but I'm waiting in terms of leverage. So I'm going to go through a couple alts, talk about their high time frame picture, and then that's probably going to wrap things up for the day. I don't have too many alt setups that I'm looking for from a day trading perspective. So let's run through these. Basically going to go through everything on this list and maybe a few extra. We'll look at BNB. We'll look at Comp. We'll look at DOT. We'll look at Serum. And that should be pretty good. So AVAX, I like AVAX. We took out this low, back within this range. This has been a really clean range. Honestly, could probably draw it like this. So anchoring it off of this low. Nice sweep there. I think AVAX in the mid to low 20s is a good buy. And also, if I was looking to buy more alts, I would look to do that when Bitcoin does something like this, or if Bitcoin breaks out of here. I think alts are going to be the cheapest here, and I think the bottom is more or less confirmed if we do this. So if Bitcoin comes back down to 34, 35, I think it'll provide some really nice altcoin entries. So for instance, with AVAX, I think that could translate to somewhere around here, maybe around 20 before going up. And I like $20 for a long-term hold on AVAX, maybe 22. COPE, I think this looks quite good. The COPE chart kind of reminds me of FTT from way back in the day, right? Where it was just a slow, consistent, I guess it doesn't have to be log, slow, consistent grind up. Like, yes, we had some pullbacks. This, for instance, was a 30% pullback. This was a 30% pullback, but more or less just consistent bullish structure. And that's kind of where I think COPE is. So looking at a weekly chart, we have a very clear weekly support right here. We wicked into it, and ultimately I just want to see that level hold. This may come back down if the rest of the market bleeds a little bit. COPE didn't bounce as much as others today, but that doesn't concern me too much. This is more of a long-term hold. Atom, yeah, I got Atom's on the list. We'll look at Atom and LTC. If this dips back down to the $5 range, I think that's still a nice opportunity. So from a spot perspective, I do think COPE is a good buy around here. FTT dipped right into this 3-day level. And so I think that is fine. But I think FTT, this is one where I'd rather buy strength. So we have a really clear SR level right here. Let it do its thing. Wait for it to break back above 43. And that's when I'll be more interested in FTT. So Sol is an interesting one because of the immense strength. It got listed on Coinbase Pro today, I believe, and so it's up 60% off the lows. As you guys know, if you watch this stream a lot, Sol is one of my biggest spot holds. I don't think 47 is the best place to buy Sol. I think you kind of let it do its thing for a little bit. It has shown a ton of volatility, so I wouldn't be surprised if it just ranges in here for a little bit. So for right now, I do hold a lot of Sol, but I am not too interested in changing that position at this point. I'm being patient with that one. CRV. Don't love this chart as much. I mean, it's not bad. Daily demand, pretty good actually. Sweep into daily demand, so that looks fine. And once again, all these alts are discounted by 35-40% from earlier this week. I think it's just a matter of figuring out which you are most interested in. So Ray, I think this is, we were looking for us to flip that gray level. It obviously did not. I didn't think we were going to get back to $5 Ray, but here we are. I think Ray is a good spot buy here, especially once it gets above this level. I think $5 to $7 Ray, anywhere in here. Well, I guess not 5. It won't get all the way down to 5. $6 to $7 Ray, anywhere in there. I think Ray is a good long-term hold. I would assume this low is going to hold. And Ray has shown some good strength so far, up 18% on the day. If it can get above $7, then I'll really like the look of this. XRP, this one's a little more choppy. We were looking for it to flip the monthly open, which it didn't really do. I would say this is one of the more key levels on the chart. Price was concentrated around there for a bit, and that's the level we're holding above now. $1.20 for spot XRP doesn't sound too bad. It did kind of leave equal lows, but I don't really expect it to go down there at all. I think this is a nice level to keep an eye on, though. If things pull back, you could look for a pullback and then flip of that 112. Something like that, I think, could be pretty healthy for XRP. SNX, this is one of the DeFi coins, which I'm definitely interested in. I really think SNX, Aave, Sushi, YFI, we'll look at that one too, are going to perform pretty well when things do start bouncing. I still think DeFi is a good place to be. I'm just not rushing into anything yet. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it show some strength, which it has. I mean, in comparison to other coins, this held up pretty well. So SNX is one I have on my radar. The chart isn't necessarily, like, nothing stands out to me very much right here, but just one I want to keep an eye on as more price action develops. Atom broke out of its range finally, but to the downside, unfortunately. But I mean, look where this wick goes to. Right at the origin of this move. You have the daily demand right there. So this looks pretty, it looks fine. It doesn't look horrible, in my opinion. I would say we have a range somewhere, something like this. And we're above that range low, which is good to see. If the market pulls back again, I guess it's a little choppy around that range low, but Atom around 14, 15, I think something like that would be fine. Rune, no way. I should have looked at this earlier. I don't know why I didn't have bids right here. Frick, that's kind of annoying, isn't it? Rune is one of the most bullish coins in crypto. It literally seems like it just goes straight up. So it's definitely one that I'm interested in. I have no doubt that Rune will continue to perform well. Dipped into this gray level, bounced really nicely from it. I think, once again, if this lower scenario plays out on Bitcoin, I think Rune around $11 to $12 would be a good buy. But like with a lot of these, I don't have much to say in terms of where I would look to enter a leverage long with a stop loss, just because this range is too big. It bounced 65%. If I'm going to long it right here at 12, I have a 30% stop loss. You know, that's a bit ridiculous. So these are mostly spot plays. If this pulls back a little bit more, I would look to buy some spot in the $11 to $12 region. Somewhere in there. Or buy strength when the market proves to me that it wants to keep going up. Sushi looks very healthy. Still in this higher time frame range. Took out that low beautifully. Held up really, really nicely. I think any dip towards, once again, 11 or 12 is a no-brainer buy for sushi. This is another one I'm bummed I didn't have limits in because it bounced perfectly. So I do like to see this though, because sushi, I think Atom is bullish too, but it's the easiest one to compare it with. You can see how far it broke down below this range. And maybe that just means there were more liquidations, but because sushi stayed right in here, that shows me that there's some strength. So sushi is one I want to keep an eye on. Same with Ave, literally same idea. Still within this range, dipped right into a daily level. But once again, just need to keep an eye on it in the coming days. ADA, Cardano, really strong. Really, really strong. Obviously, these plans are completely busted. But this was actually able to hold above its old range. So it was trading in this range for a few months, broke out of it, retested it, and it's held that level on a closing basis. You can see we've closed above there. ADA is really strong, and I would say any kind of dip back down into there is a nice buy. Doge surprisingly held up pretty well. We were looking for a dip into this level and then a reclaim of the range high. Obviously that wasn't going to play out either because everything nuked, but still in this range. I'm not super interested in buying spot Doge, but when there's a lot of volume in Doge, the price action is pretty clean, so I'll keep it on my radar. Link kind of painted some equal lows, so I don't love that, but overall, you know, given what happened to the rest of the market, it doesn't surprise me how far this pulled back. I think I need some more price action to develop though before I can really create a plan for Link. But pretty much any coin The thing is, right now, any coin that you've been really interested in buying, it's at a crazy high discount. You could buy a little now. You could buy a little in the coming days if things pull back a bit more. But everything is trading at quite a large discount. So BNB, actually really clean price action, dipped right into this weekly demand. So that's good to see. I think this is also an important level. So pull back to around there, I think could be a nice buying opportunity. Comp, I miss the days when comp was at 100 something. This held up nicely though from a bigger picture standpoint. We had this massive consolidation in the 350 to 500 range, and that held with a really large wick. So I would be looking for us to just hold above. I don't really need to draw it like that. Us to hold above this range high. If you really have been dying to get spot comp, I think you could. I think it's still possible to see it come back down a little bit, mid 400s, and then break above that would be a nice opportunity. DOT finally took out those equal lows. We were watching those for a long time, but we'll clean that chart up. Once again, these weekly demands were on the money, and now DOT is trading above this low. I think, wow, that really wicked down to 17 bucks. That's crazy. $17 for DOT sounds like a steal. If the rest of the market pulls back, once again, low 20s would be your friend. And then maybe we can look for some kind of reclaim of this level for a leverage long. Serum, we had this key level that it just barely is just barely below. Swept these lows nicely. If you want to buy spot, I think spot Serum at $6.50 is not too bad. We'll let it range for a little while, do whatever it wants. And when it flips that level, I think we can start looking for some longs. YFI, really solid strength. Like you can see, this is still in a nice uptrend, even though it had this huge wick down. Looks like a relatively healthy pullback when you zoom out pretty far. I think above this level, it's pretty bullish. All right. I'll look at FTM and Matic, however you guys say it. This looks like it's just ranging to me. If you're really bullish on this coin, you're buying it at a 50% discount from all-time highs, but let's see. I'd probably say this is more or less the key region, and I'd be comfortable getting bullish if we got above that. Lastly, we'll look at Matic. This held up incredibly well. You can barely tell that it, well, I guess that's a very big log scale, so that does skew things quite a bit, but not that far off. You can see it held this kind of floor, this range pretty nicely. The PA looks a little different to me than other coins. It's a little choppy, but if the market pulls back and it comes down here, I think you wait for it to get back above this 180 level, like this SR level. Then you could look for longs above there. All right, guys, that was a lot of coins, but we made it through them. Bitcoin's dropping a bit, but No need to panic. No need to FOMO. I literally feel no emotion on Bitcoin until it gets to one of my levels. And then we'll look to do business. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the stream. If you did, if you could leave a like, that would mean a lot to me. And I forgot to do this at the beginning of the video, but as usual, these live streams, Kicking It with Kaz, is brought to you by Bybit. Because of them, these videos are completely free for you guys. I don't need to charge anything for my content because Bybit sponsors me to do this. And if you enjoy the content and would like to support me, then you can use the Bybit referral link in the description. That will basically let Bybit know that you enjoy the streams and that you want me to keep doing them. And that'll incentivize Bybit to continue to sponsor me. So that's pretty much it. Once again, I hope you guys are all doing okay, safe, healthy. Money's not the most important thing in life, even though that's trading. That's all we kind of do is look to accumulate money. But just remember that there are more important things in life. Money isn't everything. So even though it's kind of our job to focus on it, it's not the only thing that matters or the most important thing. Wag me, baby. We are gonna make it. How old are you? Your wife thinks I sound like one of her exes. I'm 23. I don't have too many exes, maybe one or two, so it's probably unlikely. But yeah, I'm 23 years old. Bitteschön. Glad you guys enjoyed it. I will be live again on Tuesday, and I'm not 28. Cause the player. I said I don't have that many exes. I think I dated one girl before my wife. So, and I'm married. I'll be live again on Tuesday, but if anything happens in the meantime, if any of my levels get tagged, then I will be sure to update you guys on Twitter, in Telegram, wherever you can follow me. So I appreciate you all for tuning in. We've had a ton of support in the last few streams, so I really appreciate that, and I will talk to you guys on Tuesday. Thanks again. I'm 28 after yesterday's dip. Yeah, it feels like it. What's your referral code on Bybit? It's in the description. So it's that partner.bybit something. I can send it in the chat if that's easier. Yeah, Angle just sent it. That's the one. In the description or in the chat. And I appreciate you using it. So, all right. That is one of my longer outros, but we're going to end it there. I will talk to you guys soon. Feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. Although it's probably not the smartest thing, I still have my DMs open, and I'm happy to talk to anyone who needs to vent or anything like that. So I'll see you all in the next video.